Hello and welcome to season 4 of the NGO Whisperer show. My name is Dr. Carolyne Opinde. I am the founder of the NGO Whisperer and the convener of the NGO Whisperer Masterclass, the official sponsors of the NGO Whisperer show. Joining us today for part 1 of addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and wellness is Kibe Edwin Gitau. He is the founder and director of Uhai Center in Nairobi, Kenya. Kibe, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carolyne Opinde, and to our viewers, I want to pass my greetings. And I feel privileged and honored to be on the NGO Whisperer show today. It is quite motivating, and we are going to talk about addiction, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. And also, I'll be sharing part of my story so that you can connect on the issues that are really affecting our societies. Thank you, Dr. Opinde.
We are so honored to have you today. And as we speak about addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and wellness, a little bit about the statistics globally. There are about 0.5 million, 500,000 deaths attributed to drug use. That is according to World Health Organization. And more than 70% of these deaths are related to opioids, with more than 30% of those deaths caused by overdose. We know that there are different types of addictions, and today Kibe, who is an expert in this area, is going to help us to walk through the journey of addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and wellness for persons with substance use disorder. So before we even get into the topic, Kibe, you are the founder of Uhai Center. Share with us what inspired you to set up this center, and what does your program model look like?
Thank you very much, Dr. Carolyne, and also I want to pass my greetings to all our viewers. As Dr. Carolyne has mentioned, my name is Kibe Edwin Gitau. I'm based here in Nairobi. I am 43 years old. I am married to one wife and 3 children, and I always like mentioning that. And I have an undergraduate degree in Bachelor of Commerce. I have a master's in project planning and management. I also have a certification as an addiction psychologist. I am the founding director Uhai Center, and at the same time, I also do part-time lecturing at Mount Kenya University, and also the consultant at Oasis Mental Health. I do addiction treatment and rehabilitation for clients with substance addiction. So basically, that is my brief introduction. And just like Dr. Carolyne has mentioned, I am the founder Uhai Center. And I would begin by saying that Uhai is a Swahili name that means life. But in my interpretation, it is an abbreviation of meaning united by health and agriculture improvement. I realize that we need good health to do our daily activities, and this good health can only be brought about by agriculture, where we get our food and our sustenance that makes us to have good health. So the reason as to why the connotation of United by Health and Agriculture Improvement Initiative here in Kenya. Uhai Center was established in November 29th, 2011. And the reasons, or what brought the thought, what made my mind to run and have it established and be registered by the government of Kenya through Ministry of Gender and Social Services, it is mainly because I have a story behind what I have gone through, and I'll share with due time. And this is what brought about the idea of coming up with Uhai Center, a non-profit organization that helps persons with substance use disorders. So I'll share briefly about my past, and you'll see, you will connect on how the establishment of Uhai Center came about. I am born in a family of four. We are four brothers. I got my basic education. I mean, I grew up in a good environment. I went to school. I finished my high school here in Kenya in the year 1995, and I scored good grades that promoted me to go for the higher education, the university. And I joined Madras University in India, where I enrolled for a Bachelor of Commerce accounting option, which I did very well. And I graduated in the year 2001. And also I did some courses in accounts. I had the accounting packages and also some business management courses. And when I was through with education in India for the undergraduate, I felt it good to enroll for masters. But considering that I was away for 5 years from home, it was thought wise through consultation with my parents that I come back to Kenya to pursue my master's degree. And so I came back to Kenya and I got admissions at Nairobi University to pursue master's in business administration. And believe you me, that was not going to be the case because we had challenges, financial challenges at home and even in the country, because this was an electioneering year. And with the education that I had gotten from India with my undergraduate in commerce, I felt I can as well sponsor my education. So I hit the tarmac and went out in search for a job. But unfortunately, none was forthcoming. And this is where my troubles began, because following the frustrations, the disillusionment, and I have all that it takes to get a job, but I tarmacked for nearly 3 years, and the first job was poorly paying. So frustrations, disillusionment, it led me to casually engaging into antisocial behaviors, one of them being alcohol intake. I started drinking alcohol at this stage. And little did I know that this could cause problems in my life that would affect my entire life, because it makes it alcohol consumption disorients you and throws you off the balance. And then by the time you realize, so much time has been lost. So from when I got the first job, it was not well paying, because in my mind, I thought of a 6-digit salary, but I only got something very little, a 5-figure salary, which was very painful because that is not what I had set up in my mind. These frustrations outrightly led me to full alcohol consumption and also cigarette smoking. And this was really bad for me. I thought it was just for fun. Initially, in our addiction prevention and treatment, there are those stages that we follow. We monitor when somebody is progressing to addiction. So initially, I was doing it as an experiment, and then it became a social thing. And when I'm talking about social, you drink casually without fearing, without thinking that this can cause problems into your life. Then eventually, the next level, it becomes a morning, lunchtime, evening. It becomes a habit. It becomes habitual. The moment it becomes habitual, it interferes with your brain chemistry. And all these stages, I went through them, and the consumption of alcohol led to my addiction to alcohol. And before I realized that I was in troubles, 10 years were gone, a whole decade.
Wow.
So I cannot account, even today, Dr. Carolyne, I cannot properly account for a period of 10 years or thereabout of my life. And this was only because of consumption of alcohol. Remember, this is happening after my graduation. And this is what makes me to share my story, not so that people can feel like I'm a hero, not that I'm praising myself, but this is because there are those people who are out there who are experimenting. I always want to warn them. For those who have already fallen into the trap of habitual and compulsive consumption, I always warn them and tell them you can equally come out of it. So that's how I fell into the trap. I became addicted to alcohol. I could not be employed. I was not productive. I was just but a liability in the family and in the society. So, by the grace of God, I always say it is the grace of the Almighty God that I regained my consciousness and I had to go to rehab. I was admitted in a rehab for 60 days for me to rehabilitate, for treatment and rehabilitation to take place. And that's now when I realized who I am, what was happening in my life. And I had the desire, this was in the year 2011. And let me tell you, this year I will be celebrating 11 years in recovery. Glory to God, because it's by the grace of God. And I always say that.
Thank you so much for sharing your personal journey and to be vulnerable so people understand when you're talking about addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and wellness, you're not just talking from a theoretical point of view. You're sharing something that you went through, and now you have become an expert. You have studied it and has become an expert and is actually a practitioner providing support to other people. In your story, you shared that frustrations from unemployment, having graduated with a prestigious degree, you're expecting to get a job, and that did not happen. And the job that you got, you felt this is not what I should be doing. Frustrations led to depression, led to seeking comfort in alcohol. For some people, it may be using other substances such as opioids.
Yes.
For some people, it could be addiction in sex, for example.
Very true.
So there are different types of addiction. As an expert, could you please share with us what are the different types of addictions? And then we will focus today on substance abuse.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carolyne, for asking that question. And for sure, scientifically, it has been proven that we have two outstanding categories of addiction. We have the chemical dependency, chemical addiction. This is the addiction that is chemically stimulated. And this, we have categories of addictions to chemicals. We have chemicals that are stimulants. They always elevate you when you use them. They always make you feel elevated. You feel you're in another level of the world. And this includes the cigarette, the nicotine in cigarette, the caffeine in tea, and also cards. In here in Kenya, we have a problem with a herb that produces amphetamines that makes you feel stimulated. That is the first category of drugs. We have the stimulants. Then, and we also refer to the stimulants as uppers. They make you feel elevated. Then we have downers. The second category is the downers. We refer to them as depressants. And these depressants, they're the ones in which we have the category of alcohol. Alcohol, if you consume it regularly and consistently, initially you feel elevated, but with time, it depresses you. It makes your mind to slow down in functioning. That's when you'll see when people are drunk, they are not able to move. Their coordination is interfered with because this chemical has gone to the brain, interfered with the central nervous system, which is coordinated in the brain, and it affects the limbs and the movement. So that is the second category of chemical substances, depressants, the downers. Thirdly, we have hallucinogens. Hallucinogens, these are chemicals that make you hallucinate. We have LSD, we have the mushrooms, we have ecstasy. All these are types of drugs and they go by different street names. So these are the key categories of chemicals in chemical dependency, chemical addiction. Then category number 2, we have what we call behavioral addiction. Behavioral is derived from the behaviors that we adopt, and a habit becomes a disease. there are those people who have problems, mental problems, and when it comes to sex, they are always addicted to sex. They are never satisfied to sex. There are those who are addicted to gaming. Here in Kenya right now, we have a gambling problem. We have challenges because it's all over. People are betting and trying to, due to the depression of the economy, we find that there is a lot of unemployment. And so these people get hooked into betting and gaming and all that stuff as a way of earning quick cash. Little do they know that this could cause problems for the rest of their lives. So we also have the exercising. There are those guys who go to the gym. There are those guys, you become addicted because it becomes a habit that you cannot come out of. So these are the two categories of addiction. We have chemical addiction with depressants, stimulants, and hallucinogens, and also the behavioral, where we have sex addiction, we have eating disorders, we have exercising, gaming and gambling, and all that category, which are not in any way associated with the chemical. But I would want to mention this, that addiction is a brain disease. This is something that interferes with the reasoning, the chemistry in the brain. It becomes affected, and given time, I will explain that further. Thank you, Dr. Carolyne.
Wow, what an elaborate explanation on the different types of addictions, the chemical addiction and the behavioral addiction. Now, as we go deeper, we know that you have designed programs, you have implemented programs in addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and wellness. What are the different types of treatments that are available for people?
Thank you very much, Dr. Opinde. And at this juncture, I would want us to move back a bit and mention that while I was in rehab, that is when the idea of establishing or running a program came through my mind, because I realized, in as much as I've recovered, in as much as I have undergone treatment, I left behind so many people. And there are so many vulnerable communities and populations out there. So the thought crossed my mind, and I wanted to help the people I left behind. And let me tell you for free that after I left rehab, I went enrolled for, and I enrolled for an addiction profession counseling at NACADA. It is a full arm of government here in Kenya that accredits professionals to run programs. So I enrolled for that training. It's a course that took nearly 2 years. Actually, it was 2.5 years, and I was certified as an addiction professional. Then from there, that's when I understood myself. I analyzed myself, and I came to realize that previously I was thinking I was bewitched, but this is not the case. I realized that chemicals do change the brain system, and our thinking capacities are interfered with. So since I didn't have the energies, I didn't have the muscle to establish a treatment facility, that's how Uhai Center started outreach programs. In these outreach programs, we do prevention, we do referrals, and we do rehabilitation. What do I mean? It is very important to mention that with the biggest or the best measure to counter drug abuse in any community is by preventing, ensuring that there is no introduction at that early age, creating awareness and sensitizing communities. Of course, as you would expect, there are those who will not hinder to the message, and there are those who will extend to the use and the abuse. And these are the people who, when we do the sensitization, when we do the capacity building, when we do the outreach programs, we identify some people who are past primary prevention, and they're already in the second category, which is secondary. And these are the people that we refer to treatment facilities. And this is why I would want to mention that I work hand in hand with rehabilitation centers. I work hand in hand with hospitals, mental health hospitals. Like currently I'm at Oasis Mental Health Facility. It is in Nairobi. And I refer clients to these institutions. and they undergo the full treatment, not because that I cannot take them through the treatment, but it's because I have been limited by the requirements to establish. The financial muscle is a challenge. So when these people go for treatment, this is the secondary prevention. And there are those who will go for short-term treatment. There are those who will go for long-term treatment, and they spend time in the treatment facility. But remember what? These people are not destined to live in a treatment facility forever. So what normally happens after a period of time and after rigorous assessment, these people are discharged and reintegrated into the community. Dr. Opinde, you asked me what are the treatment programs. Actually, that is the procedure. First is prevention, the second one is treatment, and the third one is rehabilitation and reintegration into the community. Come to your question about treatment. In treatment, there are several stages that normally happen when you bring somebody into a treatment facility. First and foremost, diagnosis takes place. We do assessment, we do screening to identify what could be ailing this guy. Could be he has an underlying mental problem. Could be he has issues like loss and grief. Could be he lost a loved one and he has not come to terms with it. Could be he has a long-term health condition, and he could be having cancer. He could be having, so we identify what is this problem that causes, and that is from assessment and the screening. That's now when we come up with a treatment plan. We say, because of your HIV status, because of your tuberculosis, because of your hepatitis B, you're going to see a medical consultant, a medical physician. Because of your physical, fractures in your body, you're going to see a physiotherapist. And because of you've been out of the social system, you need occupational therapy, how to rebuild your social skills. You also need to see a spiritual therapist. We incorporate all these as a package and we offer to this person because we want a holistic overall overhaul treatment to ensure this person comes back to his real life as it was intended from the word go. Thank you, Dr. Opinde.
That is such a comprehensive program that looks at someone's life comprehensively, holistic approach to helping persons with substance use disorders to be able to recover and be reintegrated into the society. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to join us next week for part 2 of this great show to learn more about addiction treatment, reintegration, and the support that is available through the work that Uhai Center is doing in Kenya. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. As always, it's all about connecting people, raising funds, and impacting lives globally.